going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 302. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, sitting here on a Sunday, almost Monday, maybe the latest we've ever recorded an episode, coming off a 2-0 clean sheet Copa Tejas victory at the Q. And E, you coming off completing the MS 150. We haven't even discussed it yet, so I will ask you, how are you feeling and how was the ride?
I am absolutely dead. That is for sure. Been up since 5. Got 83 miles in today, but the people need to get fed, man. I'm like, am I not going to feed the people? I'm like 8 beers deep, 2 margaritas deep, ready to get canceled, maybe on purpose, so I can just go to sleep. The ride was fantastic. It was so well put together, and like everything was seamless. Like our bikes were always in the right spot. They transported all of our gear. We had shuttles to and from the hotel. They took care of us. Rest stops every 10 to 18 miles. That just like really broke up the day really, really well. There's a ton of people there. Food was solid. They had vegetarian options. It was really great. And had a great time with my buddy Roddy. Shout out Roddy and shout out AG. AG got through the whole thing on his own, and
there you go.
Super, super proud of him. And we just had a really good time, man. We raised a bunch of money and met some cool folks, and it was a great experience. And I loved it, and I'm definitely ready to do it again next year. Hopefully I don't miss a Houston game or anything like that. But it was a really special trip, and like got to see some really cool parts of Texas that I probably like. I'm not going to go to LaGrange, Texas. You know what I mean?
Right.
I recommend nobody going there, but it was still cool to ride through parts of the state that I wouldn't have seen before. Bastrop State Park, that was beautiful. Like we're just rolling through there. It was a really, really great time. So I had a blast, and shout out to everyone who did it and put it together. I don't know if anyone else listens to this that was involved, but it was a really, really great time. And then we had to rush back to the hotel. We got fed around like 6:30-ish, right around there. And there was like shuttles every hour. So I had to catch the 7:00 one in order to be back to watch on the old phone there, which was dying just all the time with everything that we were doing. Got to see that, and just like, what a fucking miserable time to be a fan of anything Houston related.
Yeah.
Lakers up 3-0, getting your ass fucking spanked by a 41-year-old man. KD's soft as shit.
And his son.
Doesn't want to play. And his son, correct. Outscored the entire Rockets bench in game 3. KD's soft as shit. He's not trying to play. Obviously, the 2-0 defeat at the hands of Austin FC. And Megan Thee Stallion gets cheated on by a bench warmer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is the trifecta. They are down bad right now, and I'm all for it.
Oh man. Well, now you've gone a little bit too deep into the subculture of the NBA there. I am not paying attention to what's going on with Clay and Megan. I've seen the tweets. I could care less. I'm focused on the greatest current player in the world coming back today and dominating the Portland Trailblazers, going up 3-1. I know you weren't watching that, and now this has become, the half court podcast or something like that. But 75-35 over the last 25 minutes of that game, Spurs over the Blazers. First time in history, that a team trails by 15 or more at the half and wins by 15 or more in the playoffs.
Okay.
And there's going to be more where that came from, I think. At least the winning by 15 or more.
That's really impressive. I was not aware that they were down 15 at the half. I just figured as soon as he came back to that it was over. And they were just like, shit out of them.
All right, well, we'll leave all that in the past. Apologies to everyone. This is legitimately, we get this out of the way usually before we record, so this is us actually catching up. So we will recap the 2-0 victory over the orange team. Got a couple pieces of news to clean up here at the start. At least one listener question along the way, and we'll close it out with the nonsense. But before we get into the rest of episode 302, just want to remind you all, as we always do, that you can support the show financially for free just by downloading the audio version of our episodes wherever you get your podcast. Toggle on auto downloads. That'll support the show in that fashion going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. Go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your pods. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. It does help us grow the show. You can hit the bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 302, you hit the thumbs up. You like the video. You help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Klay Thompson? Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. I don't know if I read that situation right, but we took the shot just like Klay himself would and is apparently still doing. So let's actually clean up some stuff from Wednesday's match. As much as all of us, including me, don't want to go back to that, I did want to mention this stat just to live in that stink for one more moment. It lost in all of our bitch moaning and complaining on Thursday, and rightfully so, was the stat that those 37 shots we conceded were the most in Austin FC history, and it's not particularly close. The previous high was 32 against Sporting KC. It was a 1-1 draw on June 12th, 2021. So that's expansion season style right there. So we gave up 5 more shots than that. The other highs following that 32, 2 times the team has given up 27 shots, 27 against the Whitecaps in the 5-1 blowout loss last year, and 27 this year in the draw against Inter Miami. So it doesn't always indicate a blowout loss, right? 2 draws in there, but it certainly did.
I mean,
Wednesday.
You don't have to be, Tim Thompson the stat man
Yeah,
to understand that we probably gave up a record number of shots in that matchup.
Oh man, well, we also didn't talk, like we talked about, it was Trevor's listener question, right? That got us on somewhat of an extensive Jorge Alastue conversation. And we did not talk about it being Jorge's second appearance, right? So even though it was just his 3rd short-term loan agreement of the season, if you make that second appearance with the first team, then you're out of call-up. So we will not see Jorge again at the first team level unless he is signed to a supplemental contract. So just wanted to, again, anybody else who's out there like us, we know there's fans that are, high on Jorge as well. And so just wanted to make sure everybody that's listening to the show is on the same page when it comes to our Barcelona Academy grad there.
I mean, if Owen's coming back and BV's coming back in the timeline that we expect him to, he was able to bridge that gap, a little bit. And you served your purpose with the first team. Obviously, the results did not go the way that we wanted, to no fault of Jorge's by any stretch of the imagination. So, we appreciate that from Jorge. And again, I think we're all on board with get the green card. I want him to be a part of the team for a long time. I'm excited about him. Really excited about him.
Yeah, I'm with you. So one thing, right, we talked about the confusion maybe surrounding Davy Arnaud getting shown the second yellow the other night. And I think you and I, if I can recall all the way back to Thursday, we didn't have any issue, right, with any of those coaches getting the gate, given what was going on there with some of the calls or non-calls. Turns out it was Nico Bosch who was the coach that was ejected, and he was not just suspended for yesterday's match against Houston. According to the disciplinary summary here from the league, Nico Bosch suspended 2 games because he got the red card suspension and then the club staff yellow card accumulation suspension. So I'm not sure if that's because Nico Bosch himself has gotten enough yellow cards to get that accumulation suspension, or he's going to serve the suspension for the staff as a whole. But I did kind of chuckle at that not only was it Nico Bosch, and not chuckling, he did get fined for not leaving the field or the, I guess, bench area in a timely manner. But I did kind of chuckle that, he's getting suspended for 2 games? Shit, man, maybe a miracle we got a dub last night with no Nico Bosch.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I was actually really excited to talk about the set piece goal, obviously, and give a shout out to Nico Bosch there. But I'm going to give a shout out to him anyway, man. Good on you. And we're going to get into some shit that happened in that game a little later with some photographic evidence of the chicanery that took place. But absolutely, someone needed to get thrown out for what took place there. And it sucks that it also comes out of your checkbook. But like for what happened, for that call to be called the way it was, the foul, and then to have that be so important, take away a goal. And again, not guaranteeing that Austin would have won that game by any means, but it was bullshit. It was a terrible call. So good on Nico Bosch, and I salute you for that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that fine comes out of the Uncle Tony wallet and not Nico Bosch. And so, like you mentioned, we're going to talk about some of the chicanery later. Let's just do that now.
Yeah.
Because just going back to, and I know some people would probably think it's silly for us to dwell on this, but like, here's some evidence, photographic evidence of CJ getting kicked up near his head, on his shoulder, on his back there. And then CJ himself on a live stream, right? We know CJ's been getting into kind of the trading card community, especially around here with some Austin fans, which I think is really cool to interact and connect with fans of all ages who enjoy that hobby. But here's what CJ showed everybody. This is an image from the locker room post-game of what his back looked like when he got fucking cleated.
Insane. That's insane.
I mean, yeah. And like, we don't need to leave this up on the screen that long, but like,
it's a red card.
And yes. And like we mentioned on Thursday, man, maybe not even the most egregious non-red card given. Like you saw the one on Andrade, right? He's wearing last night a head wrap because he got cleated in the face, and that was a red card rather. But then Anthony Markanic for Minnesota, I forget the Dallas player, but like Mortal Kombat flying kick
I saw
to
that.
the chest, dude.
Yeah.
No red.
Insane. And like
I do not understand.
Yeah, and they were giving out reds to start this season like candy.
Yes.
Getting thrown out all the time, and now suddenly we have a midweek game and you can get away with slaughter. I mean, it's a red card. Rest up, CJ. I'm sorry I didn't get the call. Not saying Austin wins the game if this dude gets thrown out, but it changes.
It was
the
1-1.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's move. Let's put all that bullshit in the past here. We'll move fully on to Saturday here, and coming into Saturday, we get the injury report. Right, no midweek availability from coach, given the team's midweek game and travel schedule. This comes out on Friday, and they got me, because Owen Wolff is listed questionable. And from my experience, and I think you would agree, across multiple sports, when a player is out for this long and then gets that questionable upgrade, typically, it's not a guarantee, because again, if it's a guarantee, you just don't list them. But typically that means the player is going to be available in some capacity. Not so for Owen when the lineup comes out here on Saturday. So obviously a disappointment. And coach had some updates, some words, and I think positive updates on all the injured guys following the match. But this leads me into a listener question from our buddy Mackie E. And with Owen continuing to miss here, right? And the re-injury to Danny, to Robert Taylor, Jayden Nelson last night, Mackie is asking us, he says, I don't recollect us going in deep on the performance staff this year. Do you guys feel there needs to be any additional accountability for that team? And has there ever been a situation where performance team members are fired by a coach mid-season? And for me, man, like, if that has happened, I don't think it's been widely published, because if I'm just relying on my own anecdotal evidence from being a sports fan, I don't recall that ever happening. Certainly for performance related, if you sleep with the coach's wife, then yeah, probably you're going to get fired. But like, not for performance related issues in the middle of the year. I've never seen that happen. And like, I totally get fans' frustration, because we're frustrated with it too, man, clearly. And I know like we've made some of our frustrations known in the Discord with the Patreon members talking about the injury report. But like, these guys don't like have a magic elixir. They don't have an injury. You can't flip injuries off, Like sometimes the players are going to get hurt, and the athletic trainers are not doing anything but their best to get these guys back. And I know there's been some turnover, right, with Dave Tenney and Satoshi. I forget his last name, Ida, I think it was. But he was one of the trainers you would see, right? Guy goes down on the field. You see Satoshi run out there, and we know now he's, I believe, in Orlando. There's been some turnover. But it's like the people that replaced them and the people that maintained on the staff did not lose all of their knowledge that was award-winning best medical staff in the league like 3 years ago. So I'm not overly worried about this. I think my biggest frustration with all of it is that all the Nicos, Estevez has said in a press conference that it was Owen's decision ultimately to not get the surgery at the end of last season. And I get that mindset. Like it is up to him. But the current predicament we are in is likely because he chose to delay that surgery and not get it till he reported back to training camp and saw the team doctors again. So that's really the only part that I have questions with. Like, guys get re-injured, especially with soft tissue injuries. Like, I'm not up in arms about Danny, this or that. Like, what do you think about this? Like, I imagine you're kind of on the same page.
I mean, first and foremost, because I forgot about it at the top there, Mackie, happy to ride for your mother-in-law there. And thank you for the donation, and for everyone else who donated in the Patreon. Really appreciate that. I don't know, man. I'm with you, yes, but like, it's just been a weird set of circumstances with the injuries here, with the timelines, and I think that has been exacerbated with the things that Nico has been saying, and the fact that we couldn't get a firm a date on Brandon's doctor's appointment, which is like the most important thing for us to have nailed down at this point in time. And then, with how long it's been for Owen, we were told late February, right? Yep. For Owen and everything. So like, I get it. And I also agree that the people that were brought in obviously are professionals. They're good at their job. Is there a bit of a drop off from the people that we had in there before? Potentially. It's low hanging fruit, and you and I will pick some low hanging fruit every now and again. We're not too good for that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we appreciate the question, Mackie. And again, I think things are looking up in terms of those three names on that injury report. I don't want to leave out Robert Taylor. I do think it's going to be a while for him. Yep. But let's go ahead and get into this one, because no Owen after being listed questionable, but we did get Mirtu and Jayden Nelson back in and starting. And I think maybe the biggest surprise of this lineup is that you slot Joseph Rosales into the defensive midfield next to Ilie. And I saw some grousing across the various chats pregame, and rightfully so, in the sense of Duber's been playing well. Like, do we really need to take him out of there? And like, I see the face you're making. I'll let you state your case in a minute. I think Duber was due for some rest. And I also think I did see a couple folks who were maybe complaining or wondering about that decision pre-match, about 20 minutes in, say, all right, I'm good with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows, listening to this, how big of a fan I am of Guilherme, how big a fan of Guilherme you are. Do I think Joseph Rosales is a little bit better at left back than Guilherme? Maybe. Probably. You could talk me into it.
Just let the record show, I think he is.
Fair enough.
Not a shot at Guilherme.
Not a shot at Guilherme. He's just a really, really fucking talented player. And, I made the face a little bit for Duber because, yes, with what he is good at, he has been able to perform in that role. But him being good in that role is not necessarily what we need from that midfield, particularly when we're missing the players that we're still missing at this point in time. So shifting Joe into that midfield was a fantastic move. And, again, this isn't a huge shot at Duber. He's just limited in his ability on the ball compared to Joseph Rosales. And Joseph Rosales is a really, really good player in this league. So I get that. And you see what it opened up there for us. And that allows Ilie to play a little bit more defensive. We had him slotted back, and Joe really had the chance to go meet the game, play in his style, be aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. He picks up a yellow. He'll pick up yellows because he's an aggressive kind of defender. And I think that just gave us a lot more freedom and creativity in the midfield. You saw some balls changing, some switching of the fields that I think were putting Houston at a disadvantage on the attacking side. And that's what we've been asking for from this midfield, is that connectivity from progressing the ball in our half or in our zone to the attacking players, and then still being able to support them where it's not like, hey, we're trying to go 2-on-5 right now and Mirtu's just out on an island by himself. So this is the move. If we ever experience any more injuries or anything like that, it is not Sabovic. You just have to find a way, if Joe's on the wing, to bring in Johnny or to bring in Jayden if he's off the bench, or CJ, and move some guys around and then shift Joe back to that midfield so we do not have to see a pairing of Sabo Duber or Sabo Ilye. And I know that wasn't entirely available to you with the amount of injuries that we had, but this is clearly the answer if we find ourselves in this sort of predicament again. Mirtu and Jayden, I think if you're paying attention, you knew that those dudes weren't actually hurt. It was just, we're punting, and we punted that San Jose. You got kicked. Punting that game and really focusing on that Houston game. So seeing them in the lineup was not a surprise for me. I think the Owen thing was probably a little bit of gamesmanship. Maybe Ben Olsen has to prepare for Owen, and he's not actually going to play. Not entirely sure.
I feel like it was more targeted at idiots like me.
Directly, I did say, yeah, that was for your dumbass. And then I don't know why I was just so. This was a Christian Ramirez start game for me, guaranteed, and I was super excited that he was in the starting lineup because I know that he knows the gravity, the weight of these type of rivalry matchups. So I think you nailed it with the starting lineup. I really, really do.
Yeah, no, I agree, especially with the guys who were available to you. And I will. The only thing I will contradict you on is like Jayden actually hurt. He's dealing with something clearly still. But and so again, I think what we talked about on Thursday, right, was it felt like even going into San Jose before the result that you were punting that game with full focus on Houston. And like now that we sit here with the victory, like it went according to plan outside of the 20 minutes to close the midweek match.
Exactly. And that's why we weren't, like me and you watching it at your place, weren't screaming and yelling when we're down 2-1, 3-1, because I think we understood, but then we did start screaming and yelling when it was 4-1, 5-1.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get into this one, Ian. We'll start in the 8th minute. And I think Austin was controlling the possession and pace early on here. And in the 8th minute, they settle things inside the Houston half, bringing it left to right around the back to Facu on that far sideline from the broadcast camera. And Torres plays it down the flank for Dessler, who sheds Mateusz Bogusz near the in-line. And so Mikel dribbles into the 18, squares it towards Azuni and Biru. And Guilherme is the one that takes the shot, and it's blocked away. And what it reminded me of in the moment and then on the rewatch was the one that Biru scored against San Jose in 2024 when he just stole it right off of Seba off the offensive rebound. So no goal here, but Biru's still out there stealing shot attempts.
Hey, an encouraging start here, and it looked way better. I don't know how early this graphic kind of pops up for Facu, but you saw like 30 or like 20-something touches like early in this game, and that was awesome to see because he's a huge part of what we were trying to do there.
Yeah, and I think we see, especially on this next play, of course, given the result, but throughout the first half, you see, I think, how important it is to get the ball to the feet of Facu, right? Can't chance create, right? But and it makes me even more excited about when we can get our full complement of attacking players in there with them. And in the 13th minute, it's Austin winning a second ball in the midfield, and they drop it all the way back to Svatak. But then he pings it out right for Torres near that right sideline, and Facu drives forward a few touches before gesturing to Christian Ramirez to kind of drop back for a little give and go. And as Christian receives the ball, he turns out of it, and Facu just throws his hands up. He's momentarily frustrated, but Christian, after he kind of wheeled around over his left shoulder, he then is able to square it to Azuni at the top of the box, and Facu like sees that ball hit Azuni and wakes back up. He's like, oh shit, like it's where I wanted it after all. And so that allows Facu to make this diagonal run across the top of the 18. Mirtu lays it off for him without any hesitation. Torres lasers it out to Jayden on the left side as he enters the 18, and Jayden one-on-one situation with Felipe Andrade, and Nelson dips inside on his right foot, curls a shot past Bond, bonks it off the far post and in. Austin's got the early lead, and Jayden's first goal at Q2 Stadium.
Absolutely awesome, and this pass by Facu to set this up, unselfish, the right play. He had a little space here. You could have uncorked one, but the decision was the right decision here. Got the ball into Jayden's right foot, one move, shot, and that's what we've been asking from him. And I said I can't remember. I think it was the San Jose recap where I was like, I want a little more out of him, or maybe it was a game before that. I'm not entirely sure, but good on him. This is a great attempt, and you're up 1-0 here, and we're feeling good, feeling great.
I will also say, you're talking about you saying you wanted more out of Facu. I got to see our buddies Profe and Page at the Sunoco before the match, and Profe said we need more out of Facu and we need more out of Jayden. So he got a 13th minute text messages from me. So there you go.
There we go.
17th minute, Facu pops the ball into the 18, but over everyone, Jayden's able to run it down on that left side and isolate against Andrade once again. He puts a dirty little move on Andrade here and draws the foul a few yards to the left of the 18. And so Facu's got the free kick there in a dangerous area. He plays it over the top towards the far post. Both Biru and Heinzeit go up for it. Neither guy can connect with that ball cleanly, and it's cleared away. But Austin stays in possession. They rotate it back to Facu now on the left. And he whips across into the box that Azuni flicks on, but it's well wide of that far post, and it goes out for a goal kick. But again, man, like, first 40-ish minutes of this match was all Austin from a momentum standpoint, in my opinion.
Is this the one that goes like towards Ramirez? Or is
potentially this is the one like Mirtu's kind of like near the spot and like tries to flick it on with his head. I don't remember where Ramirez was.
Okay, maybe I'll think about a different play, because there's one play where it's not an Austin player who actually makes contact. It's a Houston player. And then like there's a little bit of a miscommunication. I can't remember if it was Christian Ramirez or if this was the play or not, but either way, the momentum is in Austin's favor. You have the crowd full throttle now with this one goal, and you're still building here, and things look cohesive and smart in the midfield and in the attack.
Completely competent in possession.
There it is.
21st minute, Austin wins a loose ball in their own half, and Jayden skips it over the top towards Mirtu, who chases it down out on the right side of the 18. He drops it back to Facu, and Torres moves it along right to left across the top of the box through Rosales and then to Jayden, and then to Ramirez, who pings it back to Jayden, and then Nelson's able to find the foot of Facu, who pops it up. I think this may be what you're talking about.
This might be, okay.
So Facu pops it up in the direction of Christian, and he tries to volley this one on frame and can't get on top of it. His shot kind of floats towards Bond. Dessler goes up to challenge and commits the foul, goes the other way. Maybe not the one you were talking about, but again, Christian Ramirez kind of coming good on your thoughts about this has to be a Ramirez game. He didn't end up finding the back of the net, but he is a big part of the offensive threat that Austin showed in the first half.
Aggressive, wants to play in these type of games, wants these type of moments, and I do think that there was a couple plays where he made the wrong read, the wrong decision coming up. And, you're not going to ask the guy to be perfect, but I do think his aggression and willingness to want to shoot and score is a positive thing for us right now.
Yeah, and I also am just like so ready for the hopeful eventual game where we're getting an Azuni and Vasquez start, and Christian Ramirez is the guy, the forward that you can bring off the bench as with some fresh legs. So 27th minute here, Austin getting a free kick after Azuni wins a foul just inside the Austin half, and Austin plays this one quickly out to the right where Rosales puts it in behind towards Mirtu, and he nods it right into the path of Christian Ramirez. There's a great little flick on with the head, and Christian's got it on his right foot, and then he rockets a shot that Jonathan Bond parries away, but back into the field of play. I was yelling for the give and go there because Mirtu, as soon as
Gotta,
he nodded that, he was making a run central. And like, of course, Mirtu wanted it too. When does he not think he's open? But then you get a yellow card to Heinzike on the Houston counter attempt because as that ball bounces back into the field of play, they try to go the other way, and Heinzike just pulls back on fake Guilherme and gets the card. And I'll take that, man, especially at that point of the match. We don't need Houston getting any ideas.
No, it's a good foul, solid foul, deserved yellow in my opinion. This ball has to be crossed from Ramirez here. You got no angle on this shot. You're not beating Bond to the near post. Not only do you have a Zuni who is open in this situation, you also have Jayden crashing the far post here. Where if you put this, even if you shoot this, it has to be towards the far post because that's where your runners are. You can get a spill and then just a rebound and you're in. So this is the one play that I was talking about where a little too aggressive and a little too selfish, but that's all right.
Yeah. And probably a pretty basic play for an MLS goalkeeper, but I think you credit Bond for bopping that right back out where it came from and not where those runners were on the backside. So half an hour in here, Brad scoops up a Houston effort towards the 18, and he hucks it out towards midfield where Mirtu gets a touch to it and taking the ball towards the bench area there. And Jayden sprints, wins that loose ball, but his attempt to spring a Zuni free, right? He's trying to make that pass forward to Mirtu. That gets denied by a Houston defender. Jayden's momentum carries him off of the pitch and onto what I assume, I've only been down there like once or twice, but I assume like that kind of synthetic surface just off of the grass. And like as soon as he does that, he starts grabbing at what I thought was his hamstring. I think maybe somebody, I forget who reported it. I think it might be his calf now, actually. But the next few minutes, man, he looks super uncomfortable. And we were just hoping in the north end that he could make it to the half.
Yeah, absolutely. We're walking to the convenience store at this point in time, watching on the phone, had to go pick up some beers and stuff.
There you go.
So I didn't see exactly what could have initiated this discomfort from him, but it was clear that he needed to be subbed out. He wasn't going to be able to continue. And, that's concerning because he's had some issues with the lower extremities here. And we know how important his speed is to his game. So got to get that figured out.
Yeah. I went back with some significant diligence to make sure that was indeed the play where he starts acting like he's hurt again. So if, I think I got that one right. We're 4 minutes later now, where Austin again progressing the ball methodically around the back. And if you notice, it's not like Houston didn't have the ball at all, but like every note here through the first 35 minutes starts with Austin doing good things. So ball around the back. Houston shows a moment of aggression here with a little bit of a pressing trigger on a back pass to Svatok, and Alexander peeks up, launches this long ball towards Mirtu, who's able to run it down at the end line against Resch. And boy, Resch was the target last night, dude. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is a super draft pick. I think that they've got playing back there with some injuries on their back line, and Mirtu ends up nutmegging the young defender there and then takes one touch into the 18 before ripping a left-footed effort off the far post and out. And Mirtu ends up getting the rebound. He directs one towards that same post, but wide of the target and out for a goal kick. And I think I saw in more than one place, I know you, I believe, texted in a group chat, this man is cursed. Yeah. I saw that other places as well. And, fuck, man, 2 inches to the right, that's off the post and in. And feeling bad for him because, like, he got a standing O after that effort because it had been about 15 straight minutes of him running balls down, defending his ass, all the stuff you're used to with Mirtu. And, despite the shortcomings statistically, man, like, I think most Austin fans want to see this guy do good, not just for our favorite team, but because he is a likable guy, especially as a teammate. It feels like, right, from the outside looking in. So I felt for the guy, but just a hell of an effort once again from Azuni on the night, I thought.
Yeah, no, he wants to be embraced, and I know the fan base really wants to embrace him, and he hasn't gotten a super fair shot that you should do to that you should have set up for a DP that you bring in and have them in a position that they're comfortable in. But this move is super sexy, and that's good coaching to target Resch. I want to get that out there. This nutmeg on that right side, too, is giving me Buka vibes. You know what I mean? Oh, shit, you're caught in a one-on-one. And here we go. We beat you there. Great shot with the left foot. I mean, what's that? His third shot off the post this season. You know what I mean?
Maybe more, yeah.
Maybe at least 3, centimeters away from these going in. And we're talking about him having, 5 or 6 goals at this point in time. So great build up. I like the rebound. I like putting it back towards that spot that you were initially targeting. Just a little wide there.
Yeah, so I guess Augustine Resch he'll make anybody look like Buka out there. So this is the 38th minute is when Jayden Nelson takes a seat. Official stops the game, and it's John Gallagher that ends up coming on for him. And since Rosales is in the midfield, John Gallagher, left wing. So we haven't seen him at the left wing for a while, but we know Johnny is the utility knife, and we got a couple of those guys now out there with him and Joe. And according to our buddy Lincoln Rose, this was the 5th time that Austin has had a player sub off due to injury in the first half this season. So off the top of my head, Jayden twice, Charlotte, and then this one, I believe, are the only 2 that he's left early. Danny against Louisville, right? Ilie when he got undercut against the Galaxy. Robert Taylor hasn't been subbed off in the first half, if I recall correctly. So I'm not sure who the other one was off the top. Oh, Biru.
Yes.
On Wednesday.
Yep.
There you go. I mean, the fucking half of our league games, we've had a starter go out in the first half, man. That's bad luck.
Yeah, that's really just bad luck. That sucks. Christ, I didn't even realize it was that many.
44th minute. Here's Houston with their first note, threatening bout of possession here as Hector Herrera plays a ball in from the near sideline to the broadcast camera. It's over everyone to a wide ass open Sam Vines, 10 yards from net on the left, and he drives one inside the near post there, but Stuver's able to get down and bat the one out for a corner, and Austin off that corner wins a throw. And on that ensuing throw, Austin's able to break a line over the top to Torres down that right side once again. And so you've got Facu now one-on-one with Vines, and Torres drags it across the top of the 18. Artur comes out to help, and he sticks a leg out, tripping Facu up. Foul is called. I was screaming for a yellow, and it's a little bit delayed, but the yellow is shown. Yep. And Austin wins a free kick in a super dangerous spot.
Awesome spot to get here. Great carry by Facu. Way to draw a foul in a dangerous spot for us here. This is kind of the point where I think Houston's coming alive a little bit. You get that really threatening attempt. I thought fake Guilherme, that is.
Come correct.
Yeah, it was dangerous last night. He looked good. He looked good.
He is good, man.
Yeah, he's a good player. But this is a great way to settle down here. You're about to get to halftime, because I was like, please just don't let us get scored on here before half. And you give them all the momentum back, and now you're at 1-1. You're square. But this is a great play by Facu. Draw this foul. I think it's a yellow as well, and deservedly so.
Yeah, I mean, he was about to get a shot off there, Facu, that is. So now we're into the 2nd minute of stoppage by the time we're ready to take this free kick. I believe it was 4 minutes shown by the 4th official. So you get Rosales, Ilie, and Mirtu all lining up over this one. And I was a little bit upset seeing this set up, because I was like, put it on Facu's left and let this man he earned the foul. You know? But so I believe it's Rosales here that just lays this ball off, restarts it, rolling it into the path of Mirtu, who takes, 2-step run up, rips a shot that takes a deflection off of, I believe, Vines. It may have been Resch again, though. Either way, the Houston wall is anything but solid here. And it bounces off the defender and rolls into the far side of the net. And look, man, we said it with the giveaway goal on Wednesday. We're due for some bounces like this. And if anyone needs a fucking deflection like that, it's Mirtu. And depressing stat, but it is the reality. And hopefully it becomes more frequent here throughout the rest of this year, E. This is Austin FC's first 2-goal lead since August 30th of last year at home against San Jose. It's been 22 games since we led anyone by 2 goals.
Holy Christ, man. I don't even want to talk about that.
It's Houston. It's great.
We talk about this set piece here. Again, the creativity. I love it. And like to your point, being like, yeah, let Facu go, like get a rip here. It's just like you still make a unique chance, and it ends up working out for you. That Houston wall was terrible. These dudes bail out. You get this deflection. It's hard to tell if this would have been a goal if it wasn't deflected. I do think Bond is on it, but I think that was a pretty nice attempt going towards that near post before it gets deflected, sends them the wrong way, goes to the far post there. Now you're fucking cruising, man. Feeling absolutely fantastic. And as we said earlier, you know, Mirtu feeling cursed, having a lot of bad luck. You get a little good luck here, and we'll take anything from the soccer gods at this point in time.
When you didn't have the prime north end angle last night watching on the broadcast, I think that shot was going in, but at the same time, if the wall does its job, it doesn't get through.
Yeah.
So I credit to Mirtu. Again, you put the dangerous ball in there, and for as many bad luck bounces as he's got, it's good to see the guy get one.
Agreed.
So coming out of the half, there was a change. They do pull Augustine Resch out at the half in favor of Antonio Carlos. So we'll pick this one up in the 55th minute. Austin certainly more willing to sit back and absorb some pressure in the first 10 minutes of this half. And here, Mateus Bogusz wins a foul just outside the Austin 18-yard box. And Houston, before the free kick, makes a double change, bringing in Jack McGlynn, who I will note, was listed questionable coming into this one. And they also bring on Samaseku in for Vines and Artur. So Fake Guilherme stands over this one, and he bends a right-footed effort around the Austin wall and just inside the near post. But Stuver able to get down and punch that away to clear the danger. And another one of those shots, free kicks, that we had a perfect angle on from 123. Very dangerous shot.
Mm-hmm.
Better save to me. I think a better save than it looked on the broadcast. And if you go look at the stats, man, that shot provided, what was it, point? They've done the recalc here on FOTMob since I pulled these stats this morning. That provided exactly half, I believe, of the expected goals on target for Houston on the night, which also illustrates how non-threatening Houston was over the course of the full 90.
Yep, this got some real pep on this shot here, you know, and Stu can't get can't catch this and corral it safely, so just bop it out of there. Way to go. Houston obviously making these changes probably a little bit earlier than they wanted to going into this matchup, in my opinion, but it was clear that they were trying to generate some offense here. And you made this team in the second half, I know you got the 2-goal lead, but you made this team, Houston, that is in the second half, play with the ball a lot, and that's not something they're super comfortable with. And they want to get out in the counter and hit you, and that's why I really appreciated that BHI foul, because that was like the one big counterattack where it's like, oh, numbers going the other way, shut that shit down.
Yeah, and a similar occurrence in the 59th where Rosales pulls down Samaseku to the ground. And it's, dude, he makes a meal of that. Like, it was a yellow card and a tug on the jersey, but, like, the flop there, the way it looked, I was like, oh, my God. And then you figure out, okay, it's not really that physical. 3 minutes later in the 62nd, you've got Houston playing it out of the back, and you got a turnover by Andrade here. It sees the ball find Rosales, and Joe quickly turns, plays one through towards Christian Ramirez, and he goes down. He wants a foul. He's just outside the area. South end wants it too. From the north end, it didn't look like a foul, but we're 100 yards away. On the replay that they show at the next dead ball, man, I think that was the correct decision. But also, like, sitting here Sunday on the rewatch, now I'm mad all over again that the BHI foul that pulls our legal goal off the board on fucking Wednesday is like the same thing, but even less contact.
Way less contact. Way less contact than that. And, like, we've had two fouls in the box on Ramirez so far this season where he hasn't gone down. You didn't get the call, and now he goes down on this one. You also don't get the call. I don't think it was a foul. I thought that would have been a pretty soft call. Would have taken it for sure. But I don't think it was a foul.
66th minute, you get the first intentional changes by Austin in this game. CJ and Duber come in for Ilie and Christian Ramirez. And, like, something you saw in the stadium that I think Phil asked after the game in the press conferences, dude, and I don't think you could see this on the broadcast. When Duber comes in, he gives Gallagher some instructions, and Gally is, like, not having any of it. Like, people noticing. Yeah. And so what Nico said after the match was that Duber was telling him that they were going to go back to a back five because of the way they were. Houston likes to utilize their front line and kind of go a front five when they're behind. But he said when McGlynn came in, they were kind of using him as a wing back, so we didn't need the five. And he said Johnny noticed that, pointed it out, and that it was the right call. So shout out to John and shout out to those guys for being able to communicate, identify things like that in the heat of the game. Nico
awesome.
praised him for it.
That's awesome for him to make that call and for the team and the coaching staff to be like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're spot on here. Man, that's good to see, man.
Dessler picks up a yellow in the 70th for a foul on Guilherme. For some reason, they said on the broadcast that VAR was looking at that. Maybe a arm came up for Dessler. Nothing comes of that, but it is Jack McGlynn standing over the free kick that's kind of hugging the left sideline there in the north end, and McGlynn whips it in to the head of Sviatchenko, who bops it over the bar and out for a goal kick. And for my money, this is a top 3 dangerous chance of the game. Maybe it maybe falls down to 4th with one of the shots that comes here later. But this is where, again, like Austin is taking on water. And I know coach kind of addresses this in the post game, but I think I agree with the number of fans that I've seen or discussed this with over the last 24 hours that I'm not super impressed with Austin's second half.
No.
And again, like we can talk more about that, I guess, in the takeaways, but again, you start to take on water here at the back and you don't prove to be able to possess the ball for any significant amount of time that would help you at home to run this clock out.
Yeah, I agree. The second half was not stellar, and we have PTSD as a fan base from all of these comebacks. I know the players do as well. The coaching staff has talked about it. So I do think they were really playing these cards close to their chest and trying to be super conservative here. The numbers come in 61% possession for Houston, and they out XG'd us and outshot us in that second half. Nothing was like super, super threatening though.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anything where you're like, oh man, that's a great chance. I think they have one big chance in that second half, but no, it was not a stellar second half performance.
72nd minute, Austin wins it off Lawrence Anali in their own half, and Guilherme Biru is able to play John Gallagher through down the left side, which creates like a 4-on-3, maybe a 4-on-3.5 as Houston is trying to get back in transition. But we've got Gallagher on the ball, CJ making a near post run there on that left side, Mirtu cutting behind CJ to the top of the box, providing another option, and Facu Torres running back post. And John, I think, trying to slip it through to CJ here, but Sviatchenko is able to slide in and get it out for a corner. On that corner, man, Facu gets a yellow for time wasting, and then he puts in an outswinging cross that CJ rises up to meet and puts it just wide of the far post. Man, that was a good chance. I know Siege wants that one back, but you like to see that type of aggression off the set pieces by CJ because we know how dangerous. Maybe the most dangerous that he is on the offensive side of the ball is just being a better athlete than everybody else on the field.
This is a consistent thing with him now, where it's like, okay, we didn't just get some, out of nowhere kind of goals in the U.S. Open Cup run and everything. It's like He does this really well, and that is an asset and that is a tool. I thought this was going in when it came off of his head. I think I woke Rod up in the hotel. I was like, screaming at the phone. So great attempt here. Another good ball by Facu, and these set pieces just keep looking nice, man.
75th minute, Nick Marcanic, watch your head, everybody, comes in for Hector Herrera. 80th minute, Anali gets a yellow for tugging Dessler's shirt after Mikel got past him on the right near the bench areas. And minor gripe for me here after the restart about the officiating, because the ball is played forward to Facu right in front of both the fourth official and the linesman there. And the assistant referee puts his flag up correctly in favor of an Austin throw. And I think it was Alexis De Silva, the head official last night. And this ball goes off Felipe Andrade's leg. We have a perfect angle on it from the north end. And De Silva overrules the linesman who's right fucking there. And I'm not sure why we're not trusting the assistant who's much closer than the head official there. But, whatever. You guys suck.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not getting into them. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So we move to the 82nd where Ibrahim Ayoub comes in for Andrade. So another attacking player in for a defender. Andrade, an attacking wing back in
Yep.
his own right. 84th minute, we get the final changes for Austin as John Bell and Besart Sabovic come on for Guilherme Biru and Irvin Torres. And John Bell goes to left back here. Sabovic slides into the midfield, and Rosales goes out to the right. I was questioning a little bit, like, can John and Joe switch there? Put Joe on the left? Just for the last 10 minutes or so here. But I did note in the Discords, our buddy Pollo Goyo came in and was like, something, Sabovic didn't play. Great night. I was like, look, it's a passing grade for Besart Sabovic because Greg didn't even notice him out there.
Yeah. I think he comes in and gets a foul pretty quick, though. Right?
That's what he does.
The destroyer.
So it was 87th minute. And it's just, again, Houston, of course, growing increasingly desperate as we inch towards stoppage time. And here they turn Austin over as Samaseku takes it off Dubrsarski. Counter is on for the Dynamo, and Samaseku squares it to fake Guilherme, and he has a crack from 25 yards out that Stuver has to get up and get a piece of it, push it over the bar out for a corner. And then Houston takes that corner quickly on the ground to a wide open Mateusz Bogusz at the top left of the 18-yard box, and he's able to just comfortably put it onto his right foot, curl a shot towards that far corner that goes just over the crossbar and just kind of rests on that top netting there for a goal kick. And Stuver rightfully upset about this because the lack of awareness and intensity on this corner kick to allow Bogusz, who's one of, if not maybe, the most threatening. I know we haven't seen it in the stats yet this year, but we know how that guy can score. And I mean, that's the anatomy of giving up 2 late goals in the final fucking 10 minutes there, is leaving a guy that talented, that wide open. And I'm glad for Brad and for the team, of course, that it didn't come off for Houston, because again, it was shaky to close this one out.
It was definitely shaky. They're putting a little heat on here. While this play in particular is inexcusable, I am going to shout out Dessler. He's had a rough start to his season, but he bagged Bogusz last night. He was all over him, man. And you see that one-on-one defense with him that just makes him a higher caliber player than we have on the defensive side of the ball with anybody else. His one-on-one ability on the defensive side is top tier in this league. And he was great on Bogusz all night. This is inexcusable, giving this dude this much space in the moments where it's just yeah, dude, if you give this just happened with McGlynn. This just happened where we were up 2 and you have Jack McGlynn come in and score 2 on you, and you lose the win. We've seen it happen multiple times this year where it's just come on, boys, you got to see this out for a full fucking 90. So this would have still probably been a difficult shot to make with where he's at, the angle that it is, and obviously having one of the best goalkeepers in the league back there. So very nervy kind of moment here. But to your point, just the focus to see this out was not what it needed to be.
Well, Austin was able to close it out, and it was 45% possession for Austin FC at the end of this one. It was 13 shots to 11 in favor of Austin, but 5 shots on target to 4 in favor of the Dynamo, 5 corners to 3 in favor of Houston. And Austin created no big chances on the night, which again is not what you want to see.
Yeah.
On the recalc here, 0.86 expected goals for Austin to 0.76 for Houston, but the expected goals on target 1.1 for Austin, 0.49 for Houston. And I do want to, it's not everything, but the data point of the momentum chart in this match, I think, shows the impact of Jayden Nelson on this team, especially with the absences that we have, and how much he's helping the offense just because of his physical threat, that verticality he provides on the field with his speed, with his craftiness. Obviously, it was on display with the goal that he scored in a one-on-one situation. But if you just listen to the notes that we just read off from this one. After he sits down and goes out, man, we get that free kick from Facu and the goal from Mirtu. But outside of that, dude, there was nothing else legitimately threatening going forward. And so
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we highlight how important Jayden is at this point of the year for Austin FC. And I wanted to give him credit because, like, I think it was our buddy Kevin Morris highlighting on Blue Sky today that Jayden's at like 0.4 goal contributions per 90, I think, right now, because of the limited minutes. He only has the 2 goals. But, like, if he's going to give you a goal contribution every other game, I don't think Buka was at that point.
I don't think Buka was at that point either. I actually checked in on Buka a little while ago.
Oh, yeah? Not great?
Not going well. I think he got benched. Not going well. But whatever. I digress. Yes, you definitely had some tough sledding after Jayden went out here. You get the good fortune with the Mirtu bounce. Obviously, we'll never know if that shot would have actually gone in or not, if it had been at its desired target here. You play this way versus a better team, I don't know if you get the same result, but with where this club is at in Austin, like we say, we don't care how you get it done, just get the 3 points. You fucking did that. You got off the schneid here a little bit where you're back in the win column. We can sell it. We can play the victory song at the end of the fucking episode
yes,
here,
we can.
which I know a lot of people are looking forward to. And again, this type of rivalry matchup where you beat a rival goes a little bit longer. It extends those kind of good vibes for you. And then you take that kind of momentum and you hopefully are getting Owen and BV back into this mix. You're starting to get your best players back. We need to see what this team looks like when we are fully healthy. And it's just a little bit hard to judge them entirely without those guys. You know what I mean? And of course, we're going to be reactionary to every game that takes place and overreact to certain things and the way the teams looked and everything. But like, this team needs to get healthy. And now you've gotten 3 points here and you have to follow this up with another 3 points at home. But this was the first leg of that.
Game score for this one, a 3.94 in the Discord. That matches the Miami game score of 3.94. So that's tied for the second highest game score on the young season. And unsurprising because it's only our second win.
Absolutely. I was a 4 on this one, and I made my thoughts clear here that I wasn't impressed with the second half. And I do think if you play a better team, this might have gone a little bit of a different way, but you got the job done. You got 3 points. You protected home, and that's what you have to do. Teams win ugly in this league all the fucking time, and this is far from one of the ugliest wins that Austin has ever had.
So I did leave the passes into the final third graphic up here for a moment because I thought it was interesting that playing in that defensive midfield, that Joseph Rosales was the Austin FC player that had the most passes into the final third. So again, I already felt great about having Joe on our team, and
oh my God, that
only elevated after last night's performance in the midfield, man.
Can you imagine where we'd be if we didn't have him right now?
I know.
And you're just like consistently rolling out Sabo, Duber, Ilya, Duber, Ilya. You know what I mean? Like, This is just, the dude is, we talked about Johnny as a utility knife. This dude is one of those fucking Swiss Army knives you order off JCPenney where it's got 38 different gizmos and gadgets. I had one of those, so badass, dude. It was awesome. I had a little toothpick in there.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, man. So some comments from Coach after the match. Coach said, I told the team after the game, we even have opportunities to score the third goal, and we need to utilize those moments better and capitalize those moments better, because then I think we could play a different type of game at the end, have more of the ball, move them around. And, instead we had to suffer a little bit there. And like, to that, I say, if we're not comfortable possessing the ball up to, are we really that comfortable possessing the ball ever?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just say I'm glad we got a win. We don't gotta say we deserved a third goal here. Just say glad we got the dub. We can move forward through St. Louis. It's always good to beat your rival. But we were scared. We played scared in the second half. We played like we didn't want to make a mistake.
I feel like and maybe this is just like thinking way too much about this, but like I feel like in the days of Josh Wolf, you go up 2-0 and you keep the gas pressed, and like
Mhm.
that would potentially and frequently during his coaching tenure here frequently open us up at the back, and we would, concede goals, sometimes give up the lead, etc. And it feels like with Nico it's just the other end of the extreme. And again, maybe I'm overgeneralizing the two coaches and their styles, but like just to again, it's nothing new under
Yeah.
Nico that we get even one goal and kind of pull back. And again, I didn't feel that in the first half. I thought it had more to do with Jayden coming off, but scoring that second goal absolutely flipped the switch at halftime. Jayden out there, not we were not playing the same style of soccer, at least to my eye.
Yeah, I mean, this was a classic situation where we would see some horseshoe stuff, really, and then you would try to move up the field with how Nico has looked. Um, but yeah, dude, again, I just think the team was playing not to make a mistake in the second half, and like that's just not a great way to play. But I can't be too upset. I can't be complaining too much because you got the job done versus the team we hate the most in the entire league. So
Yeah,
fuck 'em.
absolutely. Coach did not rule Jayden Nelson out for next week against St. Louis, saying we have the whole week to recover him. And the soreness was why he was held out in the midweek game. And look, man, Jayden was walking around the field after the game in slides. I don't believe he went back to the locker room when he was subbed out, went to the bench. So again, if it was a serious issue, he would have gone right back to the training room. I think I saw somewhere, again, like I think I mentioned earlier, that I think he said it's his calf and not his hamstring last night. I forget what outlet or source that was, so I apologize. But it's same hammy, new soft tissue injury in the calf. I don't care. It's not great.
No, it's not great. It's the same leg, right? It's that right leg.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And we talked about it before with like some potential nerve stuff moving into the back or whatever. Clearly something is going on with him. We got to get it figured out.
So from Hernan from We Are Austin TV in the locker room talked to Christian Ramirez, and I just thought this was a fantastic quote from Christian. He said, "You don't play derbies, you win them." And going to your point about him saying, or about him being a guy that has been around long enough in this league to understand, he doesn't have to play for a Texas team to come in here and understand very quickly the importance of this match to the fans. And then from Verde Alde, they talked to Jayden in the locker room, and he said, "I knew that I was going to the game injured, but I know that I have to show up for my team. It's been difficult because the World Cup is around the corner, and I'm thinking about that. And at the moment, it's like everyone is counting me out. For what reason? I don't know what. But I'm here to play, and I'm going to do everything I can to be on the field." So, and that was kind of the conversation that I was having with EG, who was able to come and play E for the night, talking to Dave and Shane and Heather at the half and Tej and Big Fudge. Is like, man, you feel for the guy because we're 6 weeks out from the World Cup, maybe 7.
Yeah.
And like, dude, if you're just dealing with soft tissue injuries for the last 2 months, it's gonna hurt your chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that would mean a lot to him. And I totally get that. So I appreciate him going out there and battling everything. That is impressive. And hopefully we can just get him right. You know what I mean? And if you start to get Owen back, you get BV back, then I think you can, let up on the Jayden, we got to run you out there. So we'll see. I hope he feels better. Hope he gets right because I want him to be able to play for Canada and have that experience. And I also obviously want him to succeed with Austin here.
Well, speaking of those other guys, here's what Coach said about I don't know what Phil was calling the something 3. It's just injured guys, right? So Coach said, "We put Owen with the second team to have a really good training session on Wednesday, but it's not the same thing. What we felt is, okay, he's close. He still feels some discomfort, but it's something he can tolerate. He's training in full, and he had a really hard training session this morning, so indicating that Owen trained on Saturday morning." He said, "Owen, Brandon, and Danny are very close, and we expect that now that we have a full week, we can integrate all 3 with the team." He says, "Brandon has been training with the team. Owen, same. Danny, this is going to be his first week back with the team. And we're just waiting for the appointment with Brandon On Wednesday, which I think is now our fourth different timeline for this appointment, but we have a lockdown date from Coach now. Brandon's final appointment with the doctors on Wednesday, he says, where the doctor can clear him and we can have all three of these players ready to go. Also, we have Robert Taylor, that it's not the same injury that he had. It's more like he tweaked a little bit of his meniscus, not very severe, but when he hits the ball, he still has some pain, and hopefully with the days that we have now, he can recover. Like I said earlier in the episode, I don't think Bobby T is coming back next week. But I have seen people suggesting in multiple places today here on Sunday that they don't expect Vasquez to play until after the World Cup. And like, that would be
what?
Absolutely. Yeah. That would be baffling to me. Cause like, and I'm sure like, again, it could be these few folks, right? Not paying as close attention as a lunatic like me, but like, Coach did say after the game on Wednesday that the St. Louis game was the target for Brandon. And we know that from the past things that Coach has said, that Brandon has himself said to the media, that he needed a month of full training with the team. Mm-hmm. And back on April 2nd, Coach said that he was training in full with the team. This is the final appointment. If he gets cleared, knock on wood, on Wednesday by the doctors, this man, whenever he gets cleared in a final appointment, this man is playing the next game. He's playing. No, I feel very confident he's going to be out there Sunday, unless again something crazy happens in practice this week, and I'll knock on wood again.
Yeah, I guess we can't count those chickens quite yet, and obviously there's been a lot of timelines that haven't been right, and misinformation that we've heard from Nico and stuff like that, but to assume that he wouldn't be back till after the World Cup break is that seems pretty aggressive to me. I guess I left you unattended for the internet again.
Well, there was no arguments made from me, just quizzical looks by myself here in the North End offices. So again, like, I don't know how you feel about that. Again, like, we've been the I'll believe it when I see it kind of theme the last couple of weeks, but this is a much more concrete timeline than we like. Out of those three, Brandon, Owen, Danny, to me, Brandon is the one that is most likely to play next weekend.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
We don't have that same timeline from Nico, just because we know, right? That this is the way that ACL injuries and major injuries like this are dealt with. The final appointment, the next thing is playing, and the guy's been training in full for a month. He's ready to play soccer, man.
Okay, I think I would say Owen, but okay.
Well, hopefully Coach is, being as truthful with us as he has all year, and we get all three. That would be, my vibes would be super high walking in there if all three of those guys are available on the bench next week.
That would be fucking awesome.
So I do some other takeaways, I guess, before we kind of shut it down here. Facu Torres, just for the non-believers, now tied for 6th in MLS with 5 assists. Look, live play assist last night. That's a real one for those that don't want to count the set plays. Austin FC now scored 14 goals in 10 league matches, on pace for 47.6. So that's not elite, but that is a 10-goal increase in terms of the season-long pace. Not world-beating, right? But progress. And maybe fair to say that it's like promising progress, considering the guys who we have been missing are our best creator last year and our best goal scorer.
Correct. You definitely need to see what this team looks like with those two guys back.
So I want to go because like I pulled the double lever, right? On Thursday. Yep. So I'm very glad we won last night. You fucking needed it, and there's nothing quite like beating Houston.
Correct.
Right? But I also expect to beat Houston every time that they come to our house, right? And we also knew this was a must-win basically for everybody involved, given the recent form. So, like, I don't want to minimize the victory. You got the job done. Congratulations. But this has to be the start of a positive run of form headed into the break, right? The upcoming schedule is easier than what you faced over the last 5 weeks or so, both from a schedule congestion standpoint and the quality of your opponents on paper. And consistency is what we were asking for. We were not the only ones after those 2 draws that felt like they were relatively impressive given the expectation headed into those. And the only consistency we got after those was fucking disappointments, man, for the last 3-4 weeks, right? Like we already said, not overly impressed with how this team looked for the full 90 last night, especially once Jayden went off. But given coach's comments about BV's appointment, the O&Q tag this weekend, and Danny, not injured, right? Like the chance that we could have all three of those guys available off the bench, like that's something that I'm going to, maybe foolishly, let myself get excited about again this week because, look, I think maybe the one thing that I can be consistent with in my life is bringing a little bit of positivity no matter the situation. And I think we've got some legit positivity after this win. So I'm going to lean into that here, with my fandom this next week. And that was step one on what can only be a multi-week process to shift the narrative around this team going into the break. So let's string two together, see how it feels, right? Obviously, we'll preview St. Louis on Wednesday's episode, but it's the first building block of multiple that you need to lay here going into the World Cup.
Absolutely. And you haven't really run out of time entirely. And if you're getting these guys back and that's starting to look like we're going to have a full or healthier squad, I don't know why any fan wouldn't be excited about that, given what we've had to suffer through to start this season. So I'm on board with that.
Anything else for you on this one?
Oh, yeah, fuck Houston.
Well, I can second that, my friend. So let's just close it out with the nonsense because we will preview the second team's match against North Texas on Wednesday's episode. We will revisit the busy weekend out at the MLS Next Flex for the Academy once all of those results are finalized and come in. So we'll just close it out with some nonsense here, E. And the best ball scores from the midweek games are in. Congratulations to Soccer Wise on another weekly win. We Are Austin TV remains in the top spot, but Goss making up 16 points there on the leaders in the table. Look at 61 for us, dude. It's a pretty good week. We make up some ground on Verde All Day, the Verde Pendant, and on We Are Austin at the top with that 61. We also increase our lead on Moon Tower by 20 points in the spoon race, so I think maybe that's what we feel best about with our big score. Little tie in the table there. Verde All Day and the Verde Pendant tied on 457 for third. So again, the table still tight, even though We Are Austin has that lead out front, and only 10 weeks of 34. Still way too much time for anything to be settled here.
Just like there's plenty of time for Austin, plenty of time for the North End boys.
Well, let's check in on the Patreon leagues here, E. We start with the Sentimiento League, where Kevmo wins. Shut up, Kevmo. What I'm muting you for this. Look, I have the fucking commish powers here. Let me just mute you for this segment. Kevin Morris wins week 9 in the Sentimiento, so he jumps into the top 4 with a 68. So it is Birdman, Aries, Mace, and now Kevin in the top 4 of the Sentimiento League. We flip over to the Heartbeat League. Ooh, ZG with the victory. We're not muting myself here today. E52 getting up into third there. So the top 4 in the Heartbeat League. The table tightens in week 9. Peach, Mike, ZG, and the stat man, Tim Thompson. And then what?
Is that AG?
AG, yeah, AG's in there. We had a team that we had to replace. How did you miss that?
I didn't know.
How did you miss that?
I didn't know he was the dude you were giving it to.
Yeah. Well, he was our waitlist guy.
Give him PP.
Shout out AG, and then we go to the Rooted League, where E wins week 9 with a 64, which launches E over Turbo Trevor into pole position in the Rooted League. So the top 4 there, E, Trevor, Logan, and Schnorb Jones. But Derek, who I got to see Derek after the match last night, good to see our boy there, my fellow LBJ grad. He has a 60 there, so hanging around the top 4 in the Rooted League. We check in on the race for the Premier League. The top 8 will qualify for next season's top division here in the pyramid. Right now, if the season ended today, it would be, oh boy, E has closed the gap on the Birdman to 10 points here. So Birdman, E, Trevor, Logan, Peach, Mike, ZG, and Aries with the stat man, Tim Thompson, just out. And we have a tie for 12th. So we have the first 5 out here this week. He is the stat man, Schnorb, Mace, Kevmo, and Josh. So again, dude, I love the overall standings here just because of the craziness that occurs across all three, putting all 3 leagues into the one table. It's anybody's game at this point still.
It's really not. It's pretty much over.
Okay.
Pack it up. I know there's a lot of time left in the season, but this Patreon league.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else? Look, shout out to you, man. Riding 150 plus miles, I think, in the last 48 hours. Couple beers on the way home. You get home. You got me yelling at you because I'm hungry. I'm trying to eat. Let's get this episode done. Shout out to you. Latest episode we've ever done. And now literally about to be Monday. Anything else for you before we shut it down and head into our work week?
Appreciate that, brother, for sure. And just once again, reiterating, thank you to everyone who threw out a donation in the Patreon there. That meant a lot. I did have to get to the $400 threshold. It did cost me some extra money to get there in order to ride. So pushing it to the top. And you know what's fucking crazy?
Yeah.
They raised $9 million.
That's awesome.
$9 million. One team raised $3 million by themselves.
Oh my God.
What the fuck? It was like me coming up with my 700.
Yeah. Hey, man. Every dollar counts.
Indeed.
Counts. So, yeah, shout out again to everybody who donated in the Patreon Discord. That'll do it for us here on episode 302 of the North End Podcast. We're back on Wednesday previewing Austin FC's home match against St. Louis City, previewing the second team's matchup against North Texas, talking about, Boy Factory, more nonsense. We got best ball scores that'll be posted here early in the week for the weekend games. And, of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. For the second time this year, we get to play the victory song on our way out. So we will see everybody back here on Wednesday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End, where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football. Austin FC, our pride.
CG&E will take you on this ride.
Week by week, side by side. In section 1, 2, 3, we're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates, Damon, Uncle Dave, and Big Fudge all around.
Ooh, yeah.
We sing our songs. We chant as one.
Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow. The North End will never let go.
Under the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground.
Our sacred ground.
Yeah, in green and black, we fight our voices loud and proud.
Ooh.
OMBV and Danny P, Stuver saving grace.
Ooh.